we're giving billions and billions and billions to military contractors and weapons and arms dealers and not providing the investments for our unhoused population here in America.
This is the 411 with Jessica Washington. Today I'm on with Congresswoman Barbara Lee to discuss what's next for her and how she's stayed true to her principles. Thank you so much for being here, Congresswoman. One thing people are going to remember you for is really standing for your values when it comes to particularly the military.
September 11th changed the world. Our deepest fears now haunt us. Yet I am convinced that military action will not prevent further acts of international terrorism against the United States.
I know during the hearing on Thursday, you spoke really, against giving more money to the Pentagon without proper auditing.
I think it's fundamentally wrong to allow the size of the defense budget to increase, even though the Pentagon recently failed, I believe it was its sixth audit in a row. And the president's budget requests now $184.5 billion more for defense than non-defense programs. And so I guess just speaking about the morality of this, how in the world do we allow this to happen?
How do you view yourself in Congress and that role that I think so many of us think of you as?
Global peace and security has been at the top of my agenda. Peace in my own community and the United States and throughout the world. And so it's important that security be part of global peace. And I think for African Americans especially, we have to develop a global perspective on each and every single issue. Look at climate. Look at climate injustice, for example, in our own communities here in America. Look at vulnerable communities and countries around the world. A majority of them are Black countries. They're countries where they're people of color, where Black and brown people live throughout the world. They are dealing with the corporate polluters and fossil fuel polluters. They're dealing with the climate emergency just like we are here in America. Finally, I'll just say I lived in England for 2 years and my first son was born in London. And it was then that I realized I was not a minority. I mean, I looked like the majority of the world. And that was very empowering. And I wanted people, especially young Black people and young brown people, to believe that they're part of the world majority and feel powerful to be able to change the world. And that experience for me for 2 years with Africans and West Indians and people from the Middle East and everywhere in the world, I found that I had more in common with them than not. And so I think that has shaped my views on domestic and international relations and domestic and international policies and the intersection between that. We have too much going into defense. Flunked 6 audits, mind you, just didn't pass them. It flunked 6 audits, scamming the taxpayers, yet we're giving billions and billions and billions to military contractors and weapons and arms dealers and not providing the investments for our unhoused population here in America. So no way. And so I didn't vote for that. And I think it's important that Democrats, especially, and African Americans and people of color, take on this defense budget.
You've obviously had such a presence, an important role in Congress. I think the people who have followed you for a long time want to know, after the Senate race, what's next for Barbara Lee?
Well, between now and November, I'm very laser focused on making sure that we elect Joe Biden and Vice President Harris back in terms of the White House, in terms of leading this country. We can't afford a dictator and someone who wants to dismantle our democracy. So for right now, it's all hands on deck. And of course, my day job as representing the great 12th Congressional District and making sure that I deliver as much federal money as I can to my district and to make sure that all of my goals are achieved between now and the end of the year.